his orange jacket.
You know, many women have been criticized by sexual services. Many women. And this is really not fair. And at the same time, Boris Johnson has had lots of sex, hasn't he? Over a period of time. And lots of children. So it's one rule for him. He can have sex, but we can't. When was the last time you had sex, sir?
In December.
December?
Yeah.
Since December. What are we now? January, February, March? 3 months. Well, that's not bad because it's much longer for me, so you're doing all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
You made me feel better.
That's good. You're American.
Russia.
You're from Russia. Okay. You're from Russia.
No, but he has an American passport, so it's like the worst.
The next one is coming up.
Have Christianity in your hearts, ladies and gentlemen.
I am running. You want a free meal deal?
And if they take up this fight, and they can say you have more than 6 people in your meeting, they could do that, but they haven't done that. Right. Any questions at this stage? Sorry, you did actually have questions. You did. What was your question?
Is this a song something?
A song?
Yeah, the chat's requesting it.
Oh, really? Oh, no songs. No, sorry guys, sorry. No songs. I don't have the best voice. I'm not the best singer. I was in a band, but it was a long time ago.
I wanted to meet some other candidates, no? Did you? There's one.
We've got so many issues. We've got public housing. We've got NHS problems. Why are we not thinking about how we can make London a better? This guy's nodding his head. Do you agree with me, my friend? See, there's so many issues, and all of you are deciding it would be a great idea to vote for Max Fosh, Lawrence Fox, or some other bloke called Sean Bailey. I don't even know what any of his policies are. The man's not running anything. He's made terrible memes on Twitter, which nobody finds hilarious, and yet somehow he's polling at 10%. It's getting ridiculous, folks. I'm saying we need to subsidise tube. We need to subsidise food. We also need to subsidise public pools, public toilets. Why on earth over there, 20-minute walk away, do we have to pay 20p for the toilet, right? Yes, thank you, there we go. 20p for toilets? What are homeless people supposed to do? Why do we incorporate anti-homeless architecture? Why are we not supporting our homeless people better? There are so many things of this Mayor of London races. Why on earth would you vote for anyone but me? Henry Scott, that's the name. You can look me up. I'm going to subsidise all your meal deals in Tesco. £1 meal deal. Did we not agree, folks? Come on. Yes, £1 meal deals. Also, free toilets. I think free toilets should be a thing. I really need to go to the loo right now, and I can't because I don't have 20p. It is just insane. Sorry, what's it say? Is the downstairs toilet over there? Thank you. Anyway, speaking of London, right? Coronavirus, it's killed the economy. Who here lost their job because of coronavirus? I did. I lost my job because of coronavirus. And that's not the government's fault. We all put in the time. We all stayed in our homes. But now it's time to get London back out there. We're all vaccinated now. Anyone here had a vaccine? I've had a vaccine. Yeah, you've had a vaccine, mate?
How do you get vaccinated?
I volunteered for the NHS. I volunteered at local hospital. But listen, mate, you've not had like any compulsions to go and buy lots of Microsoft products recently, like no side effects. You feel great. See, this is why you gotta get vaccinated, people. Once we all get vaccinated, we get London moving. You can all have your jobs back. You can all have your lives back. We can all go back to Tesco's. We can all go back to the pub. We can be British once again. Ladies and gentlemen, I say it's time to all club together and come together to realise the true London spirit is to get your vaccine, get back out to the pub, and say cheers to Prince Philip because he's gone now, guys. Yeah, hooray! Yeah, we got thank you for the cheer, madam. Thank you for the cheer. Right. Anyway, my name's Henry Scott. Please vote for me for Mayor of London. Don't vote for Max Fosh. don't vote for Lawrence Fox. He wants to have London to himself and his Reclaim Party. He wants to make
What
it
are you,
cheap
Ahmed?
for
Is he going for mayor?
Yeah, he's voting for mayor.
It doesn't make
Okay,
any
go
sense.
for it.
It's really time to focus on what's
I'm alright. I didn't get his name. Sorry,
Oh,
man.
Messi's a bloody robbery, fam.
Huh?
Messi, I know.
Yeah, so Robert, you know.
Fuck yeah.
I prepped the margin. Let's get the
Yeah?
Prep the margin. It's got much better coffee.
I don't know why I didn't think of that.
Well, it's got much better coffee.
I don't know why I didn't think
Wolves
of
are where it's really at.
that. Can I cook a sandwich? Messi, go far and
I know.
Too many people.
Hey, so let me do chest shot. Ahmed, holiday in Yes, I know. I know. What I like to do is the usual live, innit? Yeah.
Oh, is that live?
Yes, live. I'll do live
shit.
streaming quickly. Yeah. I was gonna ask you. The Inanti Shaliba Halibak Hana, just say.
Yeah. That when people can't reason with you,
Yeah.
the next step is halal, innit? That's just how it works.
Inanti Yartiri Hana. I don't like that, man.
That's how it works. If I can't reason with you, Mike, think
Yeah.
about the energy that it takes to get angry.
Yeah, it takes a lot of energy.
It takes a lot of energy in it.
Yeah.
So if you can reason with me,
Yeah.
would you choose to get angry?
Nah.
See, so anger is the second option when you can't reason. That's all it is.
That's all it is, man. A lot of people, I don't know. For me, hey yo, official MH, what are you up? Yeah, you get me, yeah? No, a lot of people can't reason, that's the problem, man. I feel to myself, a lot of people
and
are hana,
that's why I'm playing with them. I'm not even gonna lie with you, like that's literally why I'm playing with them, because they need to learn how to reason.
Yeah.
Just constantly acting all, horrified.
Horrified. Shocked. Where he says someone has a different opinion.
Come on, man.
Someone has a different opinion.
It's a big wide world out here. There's
I know.
like 7 billion plus people. You think everyone likes the same things that you like?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but there's a difference between not liking something and insulting something. I feel like a lot of
They're
people.
only going by like that.
Yeah, but then I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to insults, they can't separate what is insult and what's feeling. Is that to do with feelings and emotion? What do you think?
Look, see, the thing is, they want to address me and how I talk and blah blah blah. All of that is just a diversion from the facts. It's literally all it is.
That's it.
Like, why be concerned with me? Like, you can get rid of me.
Okay.
Drop some facts,
Just some facts.
and I'm out.
That's it.
Done.
Show me the evidence, what you got.
That's it.
Show me the evidence. That's about it, man.
Right, go something in it.
I'm not doing something. Ayer bala imona. You get me? I don't think no one recognizes you here though. That's the thing. They think you're one of the.
I'm not even gonna lie. They might come now. Some might be like.
Some might be. Is that
Some might
Maverick?
just fly here now.
See, I what? Middlesex Omar said, "Yo, Maverick, walk one."
Yo.
Yeah, man. Like,
What's
Middlesex.
on, brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So they recognize you. You're master. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Some fi'ni wa rahmatullah. Fair. It's your first time in speakers.
What's that?
Is it your first time here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, I'm tight.
Everyone's screaming about something.
Yeah, I know everyone's screaming. You get me? Welcome to speakers, man. How do you feel when it's your first time here?
Let me see the chats. What they say?
Actually, it's just it hasn't warmed up yet.
How many people
It's
watching?
just them two. That's about it. In Dukwehur town, I don't think no one realizes speakers is open yet. Where I'm coming from, no one realizes it's open yet. I'll actually just record quickly, little live stream, obviously then, and man just throw up a couple of videos. You get what I'm coming from?
I don't know, man. I'm not good at this shit.
I know, that's it.
Oh, you, bro.
Yeah.
That's some other.
Actually, no, I think, do you know what it is, yeah? I think Odiyasha,
Yeah?
they haven't arrived yet. They haven't arrived yet. You get me? Because I thought to myself, you know what, because seeing it's the last Sunday, I'm going to skip stagnant furthermore. Mesh on skip shit. I'd rather stand here. I'd mesh on skip man. Mesh on skip Guys, if you got any Q.
You're gonna get up there.
Oh, what? Is that you? I didn't know. You look smooth today. You
I have
look
my
different.
moments,
Dust.
my
What is
moments.
going on? What is going on?
Occasionally.
I
Yeah.
was
Do you like
pretending
to
to be
sort-
you there for a minute. Don't I look like you?
Well, you have to say something though.
Huh?
How much
When you get on the
experience? Then?
platform, it's there for someone to stand on
What can I say?
and
I
do their
got
thing.
nervous, mate, in front of you. You know what I mean?
Well, I am the
Only you can do this stuff.
almighty presence.
There, well,
I don't surprise why you're getting a little bit nervous. I'm joking, of
I
course,
don't
by
know.
the way.
You're looking sharp. Is this capitalism now?
Capitalism
Did you fall
has
for that
got-
trap?
Capitalism's got nothing to do with
This is
materialism.
communism, my friend.
This is communism.
closer
Capitalism
to communism
has
than it
nothing
is
to do with
capitalism.
materialism. Capitalism is just merely a tool to exploit all the energy that people put into society and give to society. Capitalism destroys enterprise and all the free will
So
of human
Dust, it
beings.
was Dust, innit? The usual
Well
guy,
done,
though.
thank you very much.
Dust,
Yeah.
yeah. You're one of my favourite speakers. One time we had one on our
Well,
first debut.
capitalism incentivizes
How?
entrepreneurship.
Good question. Oh,
There
then
you go.
how?
Huh? Well,
I mean, good observation. How does?
well, it's easy. I mean, if you want to earn more, then you've got to produce a product or service that people want.
And
Simple.
I think that makes perfect sense. No sane human being would ever disagree with. But capitalism, what it does is the opposite of that. It takes people's enterprise and energy and it owns it for itself.
How
It's
does it do that?
monopoly. What it does, if you do have a business or an idea of yourself, it comes along and just buys you out. And if you don't sell to these corporations, it'll simply turn around and say, if you don't sell to me, what I'll do is go to another country, produce that product there, and undercut you and just take you out of business.
But that's competition.
No, that's called monopoly.
Right, how?
And that destroys the very thing that you've said that you think capitalism is.
But how's that not competition? What is competition if that ain't it?
Competition is two people of equal sitting, so equal pay in tax, equal with responsibility to society, like paying wages, a decent wage to your
Well, this
staff.
is equal though, isn't it?
No, what capitalism does, it has a partnership with, it owns a government that you are in, America, England, or Middle East, wherever. And then what it will do is not pay tax for its own businesses. So let's say Starbucks is a great example. But then the independent cafe, which is working every day independently to create a different environment, to create their uniqueness, they have to pay tax.
There's a
and they have to
difference.
pay tax on wage. But the Starbucks, they do,
All right, let me respond to that.
please do.
Emotionally, I understand where you're coming from, but hold on. But emotions aside, let's deal with numbers. Fact of the matter is, a corporate company will employ more people and produce more tax. Basically, because of the people that they have employed, it will generate more tax than this small shop will. And the alternative to this large corporation, if I as a government, let's say, was to protest about their practices, they can simply off and disappear and go off to another country. And the problem I have with that is that means the people that they would have employed and the taxes that those people would have paid, I'm now losing out.
You as in a country
Yeah,
and a community.
yeah.
I think that you've created a paradox within that statement. The fact that is big organisations like Amazon and Starbucks clearly have no intent whatsoever to pay tax whatsoever. And if you look at their
But they
tax,
produce something better.
they
They employ people,
not only do,
and those people pay the tax.
but the independent cafe
Yeah.
also employs people.
Smaller people.
And what they do is make an opportunity so that other people, instead of just being staff,
Yeah.
but they can create their own businesses. But we do not live in a society that promotes I think we'd agree on is the middle class. What it promotes is a very small group of people who own organisations like Amazon and Starbucks, and that means they can treat their staff like shit and not pay them proper wage.
I haven't got a response to that. I'll give you that part. But you've got to acknowledge that there is a difference between a small company who produces so much benefit to the country and a larger company who produces way more benefit to the country. You've got to account to that difference. You can't just ignore it.
I think we're going to disagree on that subject. I think small businesses are the future of communities.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that.
And when you have a business from a community, responsible to a community,
Yeah.
what they won't do is then ship off to their
I'll
products
give you that too.
to, like, say, China. There's nothing wrong with China,
I'll
by
give
the
you
way.
that too.
But not ship off to China the staff who they know the wages of the staff
Yeah.
in China are fuck all.
I'll give you that too.
And capitalism will exploit that, and that means the middle class can never grow or flourish. And I think the middle class are something which should be.
I won't
part of
disagree
the
with.
society.
I won't disagree with any of that. The thing is, I'm not saying
That's
that
what
this.
I'm saying.
I'm not saying that this capitalism, the way we have it now, is necessarily the answer. But I think it's too simple to just look at these large corporations and say, hold on, why are they not paying tax like these small companies are doing? I think that's just a simplified way of looking at it, because there's more at play here. We cannot ignore the fact that these large companies employ a large amount of people.
Yeah, I
we
don't
can't
disagree
ignore
with
that.
I do not disagree with
Yeah, that's the Achilles heel, if you like.
But I would propose that enterprise and communities can create their own independent enterprises and therefore employ it. And to move to a slightly different subject. I was talking to a very wealthy businessman just a second ago, actually, who's a multi-millionaire, owns many restaurants, and he agrees with the fact that in this UK, businesses do not pay enough staff, and he says that he'd happily pay 5 to 7% more tax on the corporation tax.
I won't disagree with any of that. All I'm saying is, it's just too simple to look at these corporate companies and say, look, they don't pay enough tax. There's a reason they're getting away with it. That's all I'm saying.
I would propose that those big
Would you acknowledge there's a reason they're getting away with it?
Yeah, they get away with it because they end up owning businesses, end up owning governments, because they're not big businesses like Amazon have no responsibility to their countries. They have responsibility to themselves and shareholders.
I understand,
and communities.
but you've got to understand their value, though. You've got to acknowledge their value. These big businesses, they bring a lot of value. There's a reason why governments are willing to basically succumb to their demands. There's a reason. It's not like the governments are stupid. They clearly find them beneficial.
Government should never ever be taking money from a big business, ever.
What's a government without money?
It's called government.
No, how can it be a government if it doesn't have money?
The very definition of a government
Yeah.
is people from that country
Yeah.
contributing to leadership, which therefore is responsible
But
to
you
that
need,
community.
but you need money to govern.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what these corporate companies provide.
absolutely not. The
What?
reason why those companies don't do it, firstly, bribery, which I'm including as
It is bribery. Lobbying is bribery. I'll give
Lobbying,
you that.
thank you, that's the
yes,
word.
I'll give you that. It is bribery.
bribery is not how democracy ever works. That's the very destruction of the democracy, is when bribery. America being the capital,
They have lobbyists too.
they have bribery and they think that's bloody great. They think that's a
They
glorification
bribe everything, including their justice system. You
But
can just
that,
bribe your way out.
as soon as you
But
bribe,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Governments need money to govern.
Brilliant.
Okay? Now, in order for people to pay tax, they need to be employed.
brilliant.
Who's employing people more than these corporate companies?
The independent businesses.
No, I said more than these corporate companies. These corporate companies are employing half the nation, if not more. How many people work in small businesses? How many people? Not many.
If that was true as their intent and reality, they would therefore not have tax havens across the world, which the big businesses can funnel all that money out of any country, thus meaning that governments have no money. That when you take away the
No,
hard
governments
work
do have
of
money because they
individuals-
employ people. The people they employ are the people that pay tax. Who employs more people than corporate companies?
the poor
Who does?
don't pay tax.
They what?
The
You don't pay
working-
tax? I pay tax.
The working class
Yeah.
pay tax.
The working class, majority of them work for corporate companies.
And their efforts and money, instead of going back to the country that they live in, are stolen and taken to tax havens across the world. Tax havens are not the benefit of the world. It's actually a black hole in a society where we need life, not cancer like
all right.
black hole.
Please understand my point.
I do understand.
I'm not like agreeing with what their practice is. I'm not. I'm simply trying to deal with the facts that we have. The facts that we have is these corporate companies employ the most people.
Yeah, and they shouldn't.
I'll give you that. No, I'll give you that. They should not be allowed. Furthermore, I agree with you on that. But the current situation that we have is they do. Because they employ the most people, and because governments need money to function,
and the only way they're going to get money to function is if their people are employed. These corporate companies are in a position
Name a job.
where they have leverage. Do they have leverage?
Name a job. Name
Yeah.
a job in these big businesses. Describe a big industry that you're talking about.
Construction.
Construction, right? There's one. You, what do you think?
Insurance, bank,
Energy.
energy, name it.
Insurance.
Anything.
All these things would exist beyond capitalism. Capitalism doesn't make these things exist.
I don't necessarily disagree with that either.
Enterprise and communities
Yeah.
make all these entities exist. What capitalism does
Yeah.
is has no responsibility to the countries they govern over, and yet take all the profits away from those businesses.
I don't disagree with any of
Insurance,
that.
construction. You don't need a capitalist to build a building. What you need is a community to build a building.
But
An
then
architect.
again, but then
But
again,
then-
but then
but then
again,
we
you need
should-
to ensure your workers safe. Accidents do happen.
Exactly.
Just if things do happen, you need to be insured, don't you? But
Yes.
this is a system that who created this insurance system?
But that again has nothing to do with capitalism. That is just a system governing itself.
Okay, but then we should
Governing itself.
okay, but then we should direct our energy towards changing the economic system.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm here.
Okay, cool. But what we can't do is basically somehow blame the corporate companies for taking advantage of a system that gave them leverage. It's not their fault.
Why not?
How is it my fault if I'm in a position where I have leverage?
I'm assuming you don't actually have any leverage.
No, if I was the corporate company.
Yeah.
How is it my fault?
Because you saying I'm willing to create a horrific situation.
How's it horrific if I'm employing people?
No. Enterprise
Yeah.
employs people.
Yeah, I'm
Capitalism doesn't. This is where we're diverging. You think capitalism is
No,
enterprise.
I'm not. I'm saying right now
Right
we
now.
have capitalism.
Yes.
And therefore the corporate companies are simply playing within the rules of capitalism.
So the way rules are, how do rules manifest themselves?
People at the top agree on it.
People at the top.
Yes.
So in a society, a democracy,
Yeah.
the people at the bottom have no say in rules.
Not when it comes to economics.
Not when it comes to economics.
No.
So
Rationally, they will never have it either.
so that you see is a dictatorship of the few over the majority.
But it's a natural okay, I wouldn't even call it a dictatorship. I would call it a natural way of order. And the reason I would is because if I am the one who's who's basically making all of the risks, I am the one who's investing, how do you expect to have the same say as me?
Capitalism takes no risk whatsoever. Absolutely. Enterprise, business leaders, they take risk, yes.
Yeah.
But capitalism, when something goes wrong, they go to governments and say, right, give me 3 trillion. When their banks collapsed, they didn't pay for that. They just simply went to the taxpayer, right, the system we created, that collapsed. I want you to pay for that horror that I made. Capitalism has no risk whatsoever.
Fine.
But businesses and business
But
leaders...
I'm only talking about as a business. Yeah, I agree with you. Capitalism, maybe there's not. But as
Not
businesses,
capitalism. Business, I agree. Businesses
but I'm only
take
talking about
risk.
as a business. As businesses don't care what system you have. You're the one who set it up. What businesses will simply do is play within the
dude.
system that you set up.
Sorry.
All they will do is play within the system that you set up. That's it. You can't expect them to be moral.
You said
I'm a businessman.
we. You said we. No, them.
I'm saying business,
Yeah, you.
the government.
Yeah, a government.
Governments are the ones responsible for economic systems and etc.
You agreed
Yeah.
less than 5 minutes ago
Yeah.
that it's the elite that create the rules.
Economically, yes.
So it's they who create the system, not we.
I agree. Fine. I accept. No, when
We
it comes
have no power.
but when it comes to economics, I think that will always be the case.
I know you think that.
What do you think?
Because you think that,
Yeah.
you are correct.
No, I could be wrong. I have
No,
no
I
problem
mean,
with that.
because literally, if you think that something is true, can never be changed,
Yeah.
therefore it is true and can never be changed.
It's because I'll manifest it.
You make it real.
Okay.
But if you was an individual thinking, actually, I believe in a system that if you to work every day.
Let me
of
use
the
the word
week-
likely. I don't think it's likely. But I
Well,
could be wrong.
that is a more profound way of the sentence, and I
Okay.
can't disagree with that.
Uh-huh.
But the way the world works is that if we have an absolute belief in it,
Yeah.
therefore it will never change for what it is and represents. And you as an individual are making that reality. You are making the world as horrible as it is.
I'll give you that. You shouldn't believe something you know, that you don't want to be the case because then you manifest it. Fine, I accept that.
I mean, there was once upon a time, not so long ago in this country, that if you were working class, you weren't allowed to vote. And everyone just said, well, that's the way it is. And I don't believe it'll change.
I can't disagree with you on that.
There you go.
We haven't got much disagreement here.
I think we have nothing to disagree.
I don't think we do. I'm just saying we should focus on the system rather than the corporate companies who are simply playing the game. Hate the game, not the player.
The game which they, as we've already agreed,
Do you see what I mean?
designed and make sure is enforced.
Yeah.
And the media, they enforce it through the media that this system is the way it is, and that's the way it'll always be.
Should we hate the game or the player?
We should be the people. We shouldn't be hating anything.
No, I'm saying, should we focus our energy towards changing the game or just going on about the player?
We should be aware that the game is fixed
Yes.
for the people that created the game, and that it's fixed in a way not for the betterment of humanity and the development of enterprise and brilliance, but in actual fact the development of horror, pollution, war, corruption, and all the horrors that we've ever faced. That's the system, and it's rigged to them, and they will never go to prison because of that.
So who's behind the system then, Dust, if you don't mind me asking?
It's still the system we should have an
Is
issue.
is it the higher echelons of society? Is it... What do you think it is?
That's a very profound question, and it's a question which which is why.
What's your
speakers-
thoughts?
Which
What's
is,
your subjective
which makes
thoughts on it?
Speakers Corner and people like you so brilliant at Speakers Corner, asking profound questions like that.
Thank you.
The people who have the money, the billions of pounds, are the people that enforce the system. And it's not because they've worked for that money, by the way. Yes, there are occasions where someone like Elon Musk has actually got off his ass and developed something. But the majority of the wealth, Elon Musk is an outsider in those terms. But the majority of the wealth is all inherited, and they have
About
no.
a small loan of $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, Elon Musk never had that money, and the people I'm talking about,
Start from scratch, basically.
he started from scratch. And I would actually argue that he's an anti-capitalist, by the way. I'm not saying he isn't a capitalist,
No, I see your point.
but he's anti-capitalist because capitalism function is to stop enterprise. Elon Musk is developing enterprise, and he's been nearly destroyed.
The way I see it, capitalism is basically, it creates a few
Thank you for.
I'm coming back, Dusty. I'm coming back, Dusty.
Thank you
This is
very much.
live.
My name's Dust.
Dust, I know you. I'm coming back.
I don't care.
You're a cunt!
One person.
We can't really talk.
And they still has more things, how to say, casualties than COVID. Do people die? Do they die much more? Do they die much more? Answer the question, yes, no. Yes, much more.
But you can't answer my questions, you mad cunt.
If he says age is real, why is I'm saying that COVID exists. I'm saying that COVID exists, but it's a fucking mold, it's not a fucking mold. What?
No.
I say that AIDS exists. It's all the same. Wait, let's get to it.
I've got your voice.
A fucking small
At least he's on the same side, yeah?
people that exist on Earth. Of course, you put restrictions. We people have been partying behind closed doors all the fucking.
All the rich, yeah? Someone like you, a fucking snob.
Listen, yesterday I was not
He still has his job, by the way. Everyone else lost theirs.
Oh, you fucking idiot. You fucking idiot.
Let me just explain something. This whole concept of Quranism,
I don't know what that is either.
just from an academic aspect, I don't want to be filmed, to be honest.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be.
Let's go. I don't mind.
No, it's just, we're not even having a debate.
No, alright, no.
On camera.
No, it's not going to be on camera.
Even if it's recorded, I don't want to be recorded.
Okay, no respect. I respect that, brother. Yeah,
He's not
I
gonna put it
respect
on,
that.
no
I
problem. It's cool.
respect that. It's a live stream anyway. I'll go back down there. You lot. I don't know. There's a big crowd here.
Keep you that way, fuck all, man.
Oh, you shut up, mug. You shut up. Go away. Who are you? Shut up, grass. Oh, look at this. Go away. Mind your own business. Go away, boo. Off the record, look, man to man.
No one is agreeing with you, look.
Me and you are away from the cameras. And we'll come back 10 minutes and I'll talk to you, say you come back.
Mate, do yourself a fuck off on, yeah?
Hey,
Do yourself a fucking favour.
bring it down.
Local little cunt.
Listen. This is all.
You've just took your mask off, now it's contaminated.
You're lying.
It's so tiny, isn't it?
How do you know?
So small.
How do you know?
Let's have a
You want to
look.
get naked, bro?
Let's have a look.
Shut up.
Come on, magnifying glass. Come on, magnifying glass. Where is it?
Take out the microphone.
Where is it? Let's see it.
Bitches.
Standing up to nonsense, I like it.
That's the way you express yourself.
You do. You speak. Don't hit people. You can't touch people.
You can. This is YouTube. It doesn't care. This is the world. We touch people.
Don't shout like that. No.
If you touch me like that, it's away. But I touch you like this, it's like, how are you, bro? It's different. And that's how I was talking. Now, yes, because you told me specifically I don't like being touched. Or I won't touch you. But it's not because it's the UK, it's the because everywhere in the world they touch people. It's a way of being. But now you're
The madhouse is back. Ah, it's back, man. But inshallah, Ramadan say only on Tuesday. Shaitan should be locked up. It should be locked up.
Sexist. I'm joking, love. I'm joking. I'm joking.
You know, people who, you've got multiple doctors who are speaking against it. Their social media accounts have been shut down. Vote for Piers Corbyn for the new London Mayor. Go to stopnewnormal.net.
Who are you voting for? Lawrence Fox. Lawrence Fox, yeah? And why are you going to vote for Lawrence Fox, Steve?
Well, I unfortunately think Khan's going to get in, whoever I vote for. Sean Bailey's a bit weak and useless, so in my view, Lawrence Fox is the best. We've got 20 candidates to choose from, for goodness sake, and I think Lawrence Fox is the most sensible that I've heard.
Okay. And this is Piers Corbyn, everyone.
Well, you want to get you on some mainstream media. I'm unsure if I want to talk about it. Oh, I see. Well, I'm unsure that they'd like me to talk about it as well, frankly, because they don't want the truth out. But, my friend, the other judge,
She's not here today, she's with her friends.
There's trouble there,
Oh, you.
But the thing is, by your logic, you can't get ill, right? And you say the flu is an innate thing inside you. So why on earth?
Who said I can't? I never said you can't get ill.
No, you said the flu's not real. You said it's
No, I
innate
said you
inside
can't get ill from a pathogenic microorganism that doesn't exist. It hasn't been proven. That hasn't been proven. But it doesn't exist.
What exists are the symptoms. What exists are the symptoms of flu.
I had the AstraZeneca vaccine, and the next day I was absolutely ill. I was so ill I had to stay in bed. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's totally normal.
It's not normal. Your body's expelling a flipping poison from your body, kid. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't be feeling that.
Now let me
go on, mate. Why you explain why you think it's normal to feel after
when we take a vaccine, I had my meningitis and for like 4 or 5 days I was knocked out right? And same with when I was 3, my parents, my uncle's a doctor, and my dad said to my uncle, because obviously all the stuff about autism had just come out. And he said, listen, Uncle David, really great doctor, do I get my kids vaccinated? And he says, well, do you want your kids to die from mumps, rubella, measles? So I would get a vaccine. It outweighs risk. So you feel shit for a couple of days, right? You feel fine now, right?
I agree with that. But these ones came like shooting such a high, and I feel like this is the concept.
Well, they are. Well, the Pfizer vaccine, every time everything's going to cause
Some people are going to find it funny, but the person is going to be upset with me, you know what I mean? He's just going to
don't spread disease anymore. Don't visit filthy plague rats like your mother, your father, your children. We don't have parties, you know, this mad idea that you can get together in a room with loads of people spitting poison into the air. Complete lunacy. We've ended that era. We've returned to the real original state of man. You know, Adam and Eve, only 2. And they could only meet outside because they had nowhere to go. They had no house. This was how God intended it. Only 2 of you meeting outside. The problem was, there's a mythology spread in the Bible. You know, there was a snake involved and an apple. No. They came within 1 meter distance of each other. That's the problem. That's how mankind began to propagate. So we know these things. Now we know not to do that sort of thing anymore. By the way, although I used to think Bill Gates were so what, now I think that Bill Gates, now better back out of the way. He seems to really be interested in this type of man. Reduce the population. The whole world's population can fit on the Isle of Wight. There is no overpopulation of Earth. There's no shortage of food. There's no shortage of resources. What there is a layer of the world's population who have control over the dead. What do we mean control over the dead? I mean they control the wealth, the machines, the tools, the lands that have been worked on by our ancestors. They own the resources made by our ancestors. They own the things you make every day in your work. They even own the things you broadcast on the internet. And that's why, despite 15 years of publishing videos from Speaker's Corner and from elsewhere around the world, videos from Germany, videos from Venezuela, videos from China, 247 videos I posted on YouTube over the last 15 years. But for my crime of posting a video of which someone had made, I won't mention his name, but he knows who he is, of a Sky News reporter and her team organising violent attacks on the police at a demonstration last week, the week before, 20th, organising violent protests, Sky News reporters pushing people into the police, and a few minutes later, miracolo, God, the same journalist is talking to the police and points at the person he was pushing into the police, and the police officer runs after him dutifully under orders from Sky News and grabs the guy loosely, and he runs away, and then they grab someone else. And footage was recorded of a violent fracas organised by Sky News. Now, when I reported this to Cressida Dick, the head of the Metropolitan Police, she politely wrote back and said, "We will investigate this and look at the video of the day." I then wrote to the journalist concerned, because one of my hats occasionally is a journalist. And the journalist wrote back to me, Emma, what's her name again? Birch, what? Emma Birchley. She works for Sky News. When I wrote to her and said, would you like to make a comment on this video showing you orchestrating violence and instigating violence and carrying out acts of violence, your team, not her, at the demonstration, would you like to comment, I said. And she said, because I didn't know actually whether she was working for Sky News on the day. I thought she might be working for her own independent media company. And then what it turned out was that she wrote back and said, you can write to the Sky News press office. So in other words, she was working for Sky News. And I said, so you were working for Sky News then? And she said, you must write to the press office. I said, why won't you answer yourself? She said, I've been advised. Advised. Right, to ask you. Right.
Who is that? It's Ramadan!
No, you didn't. No, I'm asking you. Do you have a house for dua? There's a special. But is there a specific way it must be done? No. Okay, then that's the definition of prayer. Prayer doesn't have a specific way. So you can have one. Of course, it's prayer. I mean, God can hear you at all times, can't he? وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعاني. How do you do? What does that mean? It means if my son asks about me, I respond to them when they pray to me. There you go. How do you know how to pray to them? You're assuming that how it is. The definition of prayer. How do you do it? Same way as you do dua. So that you dua, dua means prayer. Salah does not mean prayer. You only do dua. That's, yeah. No, I do salah, but salah doesn't mean prayer. Look at 1187. And you find out. 87. But then, won't that create problems if you only take the Quran? For example, no. See, my thing is this, bro. There's no time to pray. There's no such thing. No, there is. بعد صلاة العشاء. صلاة الطرفين وهل وزلفا من الليل والحسنة What verse are you just saying? 11? No, but there's two verses that talks about time. So you're saying 11? There's two verses that talk about time for salah. Yeah? And both verses are single. They're both addressing the Prophet. Oh yeah, one thing. You know, the Prophet both of them are active, not female. Both single. You know when the Prophet was single salah? No. I'm talking about the ones with the time. They are single. 1778.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, unfortunately, I don't know if they're still around, then make sure you get compensation. Yes. Right? From your parents. Yes. But okay, fair enough, then I'm afraid it's too late now. Yes. But you certainly owe your children compensation for having them without. Now, let me tell you what we can help you claim for. Yes. Being put through life itself, right? Yes. Take note of this. Make sure your dad gets you the latest PS5. And if he doesn't say yes, you say, right, I'm going to get some money off you for being forced to go to school where you get basically brainwashed by a crazy bunch of nutcases controlled by a government who are basically a mafia. Your schools are controlled by the mafia. Ask your dad to explain that to you later. Yeah, we know it. Having to have a job, right? Your dad is going to force you to have a flipping job. Who wants a goddamn job? Ugh. I can't think of anything worse than having a job. I once had one, it was terrible. Had to get up in the morning, do some crap that someone else told me what to do. Who needs a stupid, stinking job? And if your parents wouldn't have had you, you would need a damn stinking job.
But this is coming from a man that's got kids.
By your parents or other. There's always emotional abuse going on, right? By somebody. Physical abuse by your parents or others. Sexual abuse by parents or others. Yes. Being fed an unhealthy diet. There's a one. Look at the state of the people around here, not just around here, but in general. Because their parents take them to McDonald's. People whose parents take them to McDonald's, the children should be taken away and served by social services.
We had parents. You were born in a scientific experiment that went wrong. That's right, yeah.
You know, the last person that said that they were born in some kind of experiment ended up being nailed to a cross.
It's a tragic story, which is going to be
By the
made
way,
into a
as an
Hollywood
aside,
picture.
it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I just had a thought today, a bit of a strange thought, about Jesus and how the people who made up the story about Jesus surely must have had access to some very powerful hallucinogenics and psychedelics, right? Because they claim that Jesus' mother was a virgin. But imagine if your mate came round to your house and said, "Oh wow,
you see, he's talking about bi parents.
Who's the father?" And she says,
"He's talking
well,
about bi
actually,
parents, bisexual
no, I
parents."
was a virgin, and that was it. Yeah. I mean, what would you do?
Attack. Attack.
What? If your neighbour came?
Yeah, that's an attack dog. Look.
Oh, your neighbour doesn't come to you. Fair enough. That's about
So what have you been doing? What have you
as
been
I was
doing
saying-
during COVID? Have you been making
we
this
can
up?
help you claim for being absent in your
We
childhood,
can read. We can
which I'm
read.
sure your parents,
Hello, we
to
can
some
read.
degree, were absent in your childhood. Certainly from the look in your face, mate. Your parents were your parents at all present in your childhood?
Yes, very good.
He'll be asking for your phone
Clearly not
numbers
enough.
shortly, sir.
And failing to warn you about being a parent
What I find
yourself.
ridiculous is he is a
If you have
parent. He's got
become
kids.
a parent, you can claim compensation from
He's a
your
par-
parents.
He's a
for
father
failing
himself.
to
He was
warn
actually,
you
he was
must not
actually,
have
about
kids.
what a
he was
He have it
stupid
selfish.
idea
he
it
was
to
actually
have
raped
you in the
4 times
first
by his wife.
He was raped 4 times by his own wife. Claims that you got raped by your wife 4 times. Is that true? The tall Irishman just said you got raped 4 times by your wife. Is that true?
Huh?
I don't know. I've never. Come on, lad. Come on, alhamdulillah. This guy. But he has kids, Willie. This is the craziest thing.
Inshallah, it's going to take him to court, inshallah.
I mean, if someone,
What the fuck is this?
if
Is
someone-
this a Google
if
meeting or
someone
what?
if someone makes a claim about
Why can't we
someone
not
else
just stand here and
that
have a
they were
conversation?
raped
What's all
by
this?
their
Got the
wife,
fucking record
one
and
has to
everything.
wonder
But
A,
people
what
hear
kind of
conversation.
mind this person has,
Share it.
and B,
This is the end of
where
Speaker's
does this
Corner.
source
No, I
of
think it's the
information?
beginning.
How do you know?
Evolution.
Look at it.
Can I ask you how do you
Evolution.
know I raped my wife? My wife raped me 3 times.
Oh,
How do you know that?
Freudian
Ah,
slip
so you
there,
take
damn
the
it.
No, I'm saying
You
how
got
do
it on camera,
know?
yeah?
Where did you get that information
I
from?
got all of the, well, the best place to get the very best information, and our friends here know, is somewhere on the internet. So you can say, someone said it, I'm positive.
Fair enough.
Or someone said something to me, or someone heard something. That's it, that's all you need to say
Ladies
these
and
days.
gentlemen, nobody's talking about the cause of all human suffering. And the cause of all human suffering starts with nature's most cunning, disgusting trick. Disgusting. I am disgusted at nature. The trick of sex. That little feeling, that fuzzy nice feeling for a few seconds tricks us
masturbation?
into creating new human beings.
No, no, you're
It's
wrong.
terrible.
No, no, the cause of all suffering is in Old Trafford, Manchester. It's called Manchester United. That's where the complete evil comes from. Old Trafford.
What about Man City? What
It's
about
a
Manchester
proven
City?
scientific fact. I was told that by Mr. Piers Corbett, who is a world-renowned scientist.
There is something you can do about this.
I'm not Kiss.
And that is, if you ever have the thought, I want to reproduce,
No, I never have any.
go to a therapist immediately. It's the most ridiculous, stupid, narcissistic thought you could ever have. The idea I should bring someone into existence and I could be their parent, you must be a narcissistic crackpot, because you know full well from your own experience. You know full well from your own experience of your own parents that they clearly did not have a clue what they were doing.
So what should we do instead? Is that masturbation for everybody?
Really knew what they were doing.
Masturbation on the National Health Service?
Give me a break. You wouldn't be here if they knew what they were doing.
Mr. Sean, we have masturbation on the National Health Service.
Yes, we need to encourage masturbation.
No, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself, man.
We now have the Oculus $299, including delivery. If you have Prime from Amazon, you can have 3D porn and just do it on your own.
Are you going to be in that porn?
It's cheap, it's quick, it's clean, and you don't have a nagging
sex
partner
is always
afterwards.
quick for you.
What?
Sex is always quick for you. By the way,
what's
sex,
wrong with it being
sex,
quick?
Sex
It's a
with
waste
you,
of
you need
time
a
anyway. What's the
gigantic
point of rubbing up against each other?
I'm just going to find it.
It's just a stupid fucking feeling. You could be saving people from dying. You
Mr. Speaker, is it true the only way you can get it hard is by putting it in the fridge?
Lonely, are you doing something useful? But
Sorry,
no,
Mr. Speaker.
you're rubbing up against
The
somebody
speaker. Someone asked you your question in the crowd. Do you want to answer that question?
Is it true that the only way you can get it hard is by putting it in the fridge?
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
he's got a serious problem. You know, it's not working.
a tool that I use
That way
in my life that I would like to offer and share with you. If somebody tries to interact with you, yeah, and you don't want to be drawn into their energy, what I find to be very useful is just to literally close my eyes and count to 30.
Yes, and
okay?
he'll stick
So
his
he's trying
finger
to
up his
hook
bum
me
and
in
his
with
mind in
questions,
neutral.
but I'm just going to close my eyes, count to 30, and I'm going to invite you all to do that
Yes.
as well. As I invite my friend who'll be going around helping himself to your wallet.
You haven't got any friends.
Aren't you discriminating against people who can't count?
Yeah. You've got fellow people who are involved in a mad scientific experiment that went wrong. Mani Padme Hum. Mani Padme. Oh, there's a bus leaving there. Oh, there's another bus. Oh, there's someone waving at you the other side of the road. I think it's your wife who wants her money this week. Why haven't you paid your wife's rent this week? Yes, slight twitch there, slight twitch of recognition. Where are your children? Where have you locked them up? What have you done with your 4 children? We want to know. Those 4 mistakes that you made. Oh, you're back with us.
So does he consider his children's mistakes?
I counted to 20 and then I got a bit fed up. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
10
Some
seconds
people
out.
can't make it all the way to 30, it's very hard. In fact, I've got a video up on YouTube where I'm talking in public and a policewoman comes up to me and I say, you know, I've got a practice of counting to 30. She goes, can't you just go to 10? I thought it was quite funny actually, really. I said, no, I'm going to 30. By the time I got to 10, she was so frustrated. She started talking to the people and said, what's going on? And they said nothing, as though she just went off. And when I opened my eyes, she'd gone. And that's what I was hoping was going to happen here. But unfortunately, he's still here. But I won't give him any
Look,
more.
I am his social worker. I have to work here. I have to give up my weekend. Look at him, he won't come to my office. Right, and he won't take the drugs. I come here and I try to give him an injection.
Are you sure he's not taking the drugs?
Huh?
Are you sure he's not taking the drugs?
No.
I thought he was taking the drugs.
It's a rather large injection.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It's called an enema. Why won't you take your enema like a good
Let's
boy?
hear, I want to hear Danny, not you. It's your turn, Danny.
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a very
Sorry, brother.
هذا الله تعالى الله Almighty said إن فرعون وهامان وجنودهما كانوا خاسرين. Macron is not alone. Macron has army. Didn't take corona. I had a go and search in Google. You find the French soldier holding 15 skulls. 15 skulls of Algerian Mujahideen. And they tell you, oh Muslims, you are bishops, you slaughter, you sacrifice animals. We are bad because we eat halal meat, and they are not bad when they eat halal Muslims. Everywhere.
That is from
Assalamu alaikum.
That is from Quran and Hadith, okay? So the
Where is he?
Sharia law is teaching you
He's
to
not
enjoy
coming.
the
Is he coming to the
muta.
park?
You can see it.
Muta is in the Bible.
Muta
You get it confused.
Muta is not in the Bible.
Somali
It's in the
speaking.
Bible.
It's in the Quran.
He doesn't know the
It's in
Bible.
the Quran.
Something let me teach you.
It's in the Quran and Hadith and Allah's Prophet.
We do live streams on
enjoy
Wednesdays as well.
Muta.
Wednesdays we do Wednesdays. On the panel. Live stream. Come there, man. Always.
Muta is in the Quran and in the Hadith.
Yeah, I'm live streaming right now. I'm doing a live stream right now. And then later on, I'm going to do videos.
You're not gonna have debating.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah, later on. And we do live streams all the time. So join the live stream, put the panel out there. Have your say the
It's not in the Bible.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
I will say it.
Jesus never practiced
Huh? Waffling, that's what he's doing. He's still waffling, isn't it? Oh yeah, he's over there. Alright then, if you got that, let me see your thing, man. I love that equipment. Big thing. Hey, what, you good at editing? You know how to edit?
Yeah, well, you want me to edit for you?
Yeah, I need, are you, what's his name? Let's find out.
I'm fine now, I'm just doing it for 8 minutes.
Yeah, alright, say nothing, man. Are you here? I'm gonna come back to you. Big up, my little brother. Big camera there, man. Him and it's official. Mahat's back in the park as well. I like that. I know we've got some content for you this week as well. We're gonna be dropping some mad videos. Can you guys hear me? Can anyone hear me on the live stream, please?
Francis, la mère de Francis. And that's him. You left the
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna run it for another about 4 more minutes. Hopefully 4 more minutes. I was looking for someone still. They're crazy, isn't it? They're so mad. Yes. Keep streaming, Khalid. It's good. Alright. Yeah, you can hear me. Big up. I was just thinking, something happened. Yo, big up Mood Beast in the building. What happened, bro? We're live streaming. Why? I mean, running for mayor. Nah, man. You know me, man. I'm a man of the people, bro. Oh, I'm against politicians anyway, man. Like I said, I'm a bit of an anarchist. I believe the system should be. I don't know, but this guy's my interesting guy. I love taking the piss out of him. This guy believes, yeah, he doesn't want to have kids or anything. He's against people having kids right now, yeah. But he's got 4 children himself. That's the craziest thing. He's got like 4 kids. He's telling people don't have kids. Look.
How do I? She can't claim compensation.
No.
Your figures don't work then, do they?
Will you stop?
How on earth?
Will you stop taking him seriously?
Firstly, the point is, even if they don't have money, it's important to confront your parents and tell them that
Yes, but that has the word
they owe
compensation.
you a lot of money,
Right.
for what they've done to you.
And how does one get this recompense? And how does one get this recompense if they're
mixed with neighbor countries.
No, with everything.
Italian, Spanish.
No, Arabic. Sorry about that.
Yes, Andy, how are you? من جزائري كيفك؟
You're making money better than
من جزائري من جزائري من جزائري يا أخي. لا 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 من جزائري. أنا يعرب يعرب كله. نعم نعم.
So these people, the point what's the point of bringing this? Is to bring the Algerian culture to Western society, to the Arab world.
No, what is all the rest?
Well, watch that. What country bring it? What country bring it?
Anywhere else.
Who's Malik bin
Put your penis anywhere else.
Who's Malik bin Laden?
Or anal sex for everyone if that's what they want. Or obviously if she
This is to bring attention to people. These people are working French.
Yeah.
Algerians.
They're Algerians, yeah.
These are singers.
Yeah, they're all singers.
These are writers. These are singers.
What did you think? Can I ask you a question? Yeah. What did you think of the recent Algerian with the police officer that raped that child? It's all over social media. Have you seen that?
The child who was raped.
Yeah, by a police
No,
officer.
I can't talk about it. I will never wash my dirty clothes in public.
Yeah.
If I want to talk about Algeria, dirty stuff, I do it in Algeria. I don't do it in this country. Have you found any English person going around in Algeria insulting the Queen? No, we don't do that. We never satisfy the West. We never give any information to the Western government to non-Algerians. Anything.
Are you sure?
Of course,
Because Algeria right now, a lot of Algerians are complaining about the system.
Human rights from America. He said, Algerian government is holding 1,000 of prisoners. They're torturing them.
Can I have children?
I'm much more against.
I don't know, but I'm never going to test it.
I'm much more against washing my dirty clothes in public.
عمر عربي شوية. شوية
I
عربي.
do not have 4 children.
خارج الجزائر لا نتكلم عن القضية الجزائرية. خارج الجزائر نبيض سمعة
I
الجزائر.
do not have 4 children.
مثل مثلا ألبرت كاميو، مثل الجمال شمال افريقيا، التاريخ إلى آخره. I've never come across a European going to our countries and demonstrating against their own country. Can you find a German guy going to Algeria insulting their own government? You can't do that. Have you seen any English person going to Algeria in the middle of Algiers insulting Boris Johnson? They don't do it. They do it in this country. Why do I have to come to this country and insult my president? No, I do it in Algeria.
Are you for the Algerian president? Do you support the Algerian regime
I am for
right
the
now?
country, for the history of my country, for the whole nation. For the whole nation.
That's not
The Western will not please you. The Western have their own interest, oil and gas. The Western, they come to the country on the name of democracy and they destroy the whole Iraqi people. Look at the Palestinians and Israeli fight. On the name of democracy, beautiful names, they destroy countries. Look at the poverty in Africa. Who caused the poverty in Africa? Who caused it? So I will never ever trust anybody. I only trust my own people. The revolution comes from us. It doesn't come from outside. Any Algerian who demonstrates against his country or her country outside the country, they are stupid.
But then again, say if you're inside, but there's a problem with the Algerian community. Say if you're getting oppressed and you cannot demonstrate in your country.
No, we demonstrate in our country. Why do we have
But recently, wasn't Khalid? I forgot that journalist, Khalid.
No, because
he
of
got arrested.
the international oligarchy. We live in one world dominated by America. We don't live in the world 1, 2, 3. It's America dominated everything because the internal oligarchy, few of them, they work for the interests of the West. Simple as that. The white supremacy, they want to wipe the whole Africa. They want to wipe the whole non-white people around the world. And that's the policy. What should I have to satisfy the West? I come to the West, oh, my president is not good enough. What can they do for that? They can't do anything. You know, Macron is sending, recruiting 5,000, Macron, the French
the French guy. No, I don't really like the French guy. He just recently made a hijab ban for under 18, so...
Macron, they sending 5,000 of Algerian soldiers to fight outside the country in order to protect the interests of France. Because there is diamond in Mali, there's diamond in Niger. Why? No. I will never ever satisfy anybody. I will never bow to anybody. So the solution back home. We're safe now. We're happy with the new president. We move on to a new country in the country. If we want to talk about Algeria, we do it back home in Algeria. We don't know what the long-term effects of that vaccination are. They don't do it. They do it in their own country. Okay?
انا سيدك جسمي بالقبضه انا جسمي بالقبضه كيف شكله عامل ازاي انا جسمي بالقبضه ثواني يا زباله بس خلاص انا الجزمه دي برقبتك خلاص الجزمه دي انت وامثالك يا
يسقط حكم العسكر
يلا يا معفن
يسقط حكم العسكر
مش بس يسيده
مفيش حكم عسكر عليك
يلا يا واطي
مفيش
يلا يا زب يسقط
هو واحد سوداني بيقول لك يسقط السيد
عمار
يسقط سلمانكو كل واحد يخلي
يا حيوان
لا سيدك انت
يا حيوان مان ابن عبد العزيز سيدك خادم الحرمين
يا حلويان I love when he says that
يلا يا كلب
I love when he says that he's the best يا حلويان
ابن عبد العزيز خادم الحرمين خادم الغرب سيدك وسيد اللي جابوك يا كلب يا حقير
والله
حقير
Arab Kuna is always the best, you know. Wallah, Arab Kuna. Wallah, Arab Kuna makes me laugh. The guy just said, "Ya himar." The way he drops it is hard. Hey. Wallah, I love it. Yes, my brother. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. You're right. Alhamdulillah. How you been? Alhamdulillah, bro.
What the verse says? Does the verse say until or not? It says until.
I know you. I got you.
I want to repeat that.
Charles. How you doing, sir? Did you watch that video last week? Did you? It's on my channel, Somali speakers. Yeah, it's there, man. I tell the atheists.
If the verse doesn't forbid it, who am I to forbid it?
Sexuality, bestiality, and immorality.
You just said.
There was a bit of bestiality in that conversation. There was right at the end. There was a bit of.
So you say it's okay. They want you to take it out. I'm asking you. Look.
I didn't run away. I wasn't debating you. I was recording you.
One minute. Wait, let me get this straight. Wallahi,
I don't know. I think he's around.
You just acknowledged the verse does not forbid it. And yet you're asking me, who am I?
The verse is applicable.
Who am I?
You don't want them to take it out.
Unbelievable. Keep it just high.
Do you say that it's okay? You believe it's okay?
I believe the verse.
You said it's objective. That means it's subject to everyone's belief. So you can say, yes, I believe it. You believe it, yes.
Do I believe the verse? I accept everything that's
Is that how you interpret it?
I don't interpret it.
Literally.
I don't interpret it.
You said you have to.
No, it's. What word is not. Okay. What word is not objective?
What is it? Okay. Now you see the way you just said now? What? I'll show you something.
But before we move on, do you accept that the verse does not forbid it? Do you accept that?
I accept that.
So who am I to So who am I to override the Quran? Are you going to override the Quran?
No, I'm not one to override it.
What you
you think it's okay? This guy, he's a Quranist. He believes in the Quran primarily, only as Quran. Now he just made a big mistake. I'll tell you how. He said he cannot override this verse. The verse says, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la taqrabu as-salata wa antum sukara." O you who believe, do not approach the salah when you are drunk. This means if you're not drunk, you take one sip of alcohol only, you can still pray. Correct.
I didn't. The verse did.
That's what he's saying.
The verse says it. Yeah. The verse says. Does the verse say it?
The verse says it. The verse says that.
Who? Who am I?
Who am I to?
Who am I? I don't understand. They actually want me to go over. Unbelievable.
So you arguing about is alcohol haram now?
No, we're arguing. The argument now is basically the verse does not forbid the alcohol, and apparently they want me to do so. They want me to do it.
According to the Quran
Who
and
am
the
I?
Hadith.